Welcome to the Addicted Mind Plus, the podcast where recovery, mental health, and wellness take the front seat. I'm Duane Osterlind, and joining me is my co-host, Eric Osterlind, known for his insightful work on the Stuck Brain podcast. In each episode, we'll dive into actionable, small steps to help those in recovery journey further along the path to wellness. Our conversations are designed to be concise, typically around 15 minutes, though we may occasionally delve deeper when the topic demands it. Our goal, to provide you with practical advice grounded in real experiences and expert insights to empower your recovery journey. So whether you're on a break, on a walk, or just taking a moment for yourself, join us as we explore the many facets of recovery and mental health, one small step at a time. This is the Addicted Mind Plus, where your journey to wellness gets an extra boost. So let's get started. So today we are going to talk about mindfulness meditation and how it will help with rumination to help you get out of the addiction cycle. And this episode stems off of a previous episode we did, episode 5, which is about rumination. I can't get this thought out of my head. And so if you don't know what rumination is and you haven't listened to that episode, we encourage you to go back to that episode first before listening to this one, because I think it will really, really help you. If you're listening right now, I want you to ask yourself a couple questions. Do you get thoughts stuck in your head? Are you constantly replaying a situation that happened to you in the past over and over? I know I can get stuck there quite often. Or are you running conversations that you haven't even had yet over and over in your head? And say something like, oh, I should have said this, I should have done that, or I should do this, or I should have done that. Do you get stuck in your life where you're constantly thinking of something like, I should be farther in my life, I should be farther along, and you're just running that thought over and over again, or some variation of that thought over and over again? And really ask yourself, how much time have you wasted ruminating over an event that hasn't even happened? It just causes you to feel depressed or anxious and not pursuing the life that you want.
Yeah, and this can happen to anyone. Even if you're doing well, regardless of your current situation, you can still find yourself ruminating in the background. And what it does is it kind of sucks the energy out of you. You know, you can't be present with your friends or family. Sometimes rumination even happens on an unconscious level, and mindfulness meditation is one of the ways that you can help stop it. The thing is, if you continue to ruminate, then you're going to continue to repeat these negative thought patterns and behaviors and continue to struggle with addiction, anxiety, and depression. You are going to continue to be stuck in your own rumination cycle.
Yeah, and if you're listening to this, I'm sure you're going to relate, because rumination is common for all of us. As Eric was saying, it can operate in the background and you might not even realize that you're doing it. So today we're going to talk about one technique to help you stop ruminating, and that's mindfulness meditation. Now, meditation can help with rumination. It can also help us with our anxiety and depression as well. That in turn keeps us out of our bad habits, addiction, and so forth. So, Eric, I know this is really close to your heart and a passion for you, and meditation and mindfulness has been a passion for me as well. So let's just jump in, Eric. What is meditation?
I'm glad you asked, but before we dive in, I want to talk about the number one reply I get when I suggest meditation or I recommend meditation. And that is, you just want me to breathe. And when I get that reply, I realize that's one of the biggest myths about meditation and mindfulness. So when somebody says that, that tells me that the person doesn't know a lot about the body or the nervous system. And so let's go through that real quick.
I think that'll be really, really helpful, because this is connected not just to our thinking, but also our body.
Correct. Yeah. And most people don't realize that. So we have what is called the nervous system in the body, and this is responsible for sending messages throughout the body. It is responsible for sending signals to the muscles for movements, and it also uses chemical messengers called neurotransmitters for communication, and this communicates with systems within the body. So it helps regulate heart rate, breathing, sleep cycle, all that kind of stuff. Now, one of the main parts of this nervous system is called the autonomic nervous system, or the ANS. This is the part of the nervous system that we cannot control at all. It's an involuntary system. Our body uses this to regulate systems like the heart rate, blood pressure, digestion, and we have no control over it. Now, that system is broken down into two parts. the sympathetic nervous system, fight, flight, or freeze response, and the parasympathetic nervous system, which is the rest and digest. Think of it this way. Sympathetic is the gas, and the parasympathetic is the brakes of the autonomic nervous system. Now, the only organ that we can control that is attached to those two systems are the lungs. So that means when we are taking just a few deep breaths, we control the nervous system, the autonomic nervous system, and more specifically, the parasympathetic or the brakes of the nervous system. And we can influence that over time. And with enough practice, we can influence it. Think of it this way. Each time you take to meditate and focus on your breathing is like going to the gym and strengthening your connection to the brakes of your nervous system.
So let me just make sure I understand this. We have the autonomic nervous system, which is the whole thing. And we have the sympathetic nervous system, which is the fight, flight, or freeze. And the parasympathetic, that is the rest and digest. That's where we're calm. That's where we're social. So one is about moving forward, and one is about putting the brakes on moving forward or slowing that down.
Yeah. So one is about getting you out of a scary situation, the gas, and the other one is about, okay, I gotta bring this system back down, and I gotta put the brakes on and relax. Because you need both parts of those systems to survive.
And so this is where the good news comes in, right? That there's something you can do about this. Have some control over it.
Absolutely. Now, the only organ that is attached to both are the lungs. So that means when you are just taking a deep breath, we are connected to the autonomic nervous system, and more specifically to the parasympathetic or the brakes of the nervous system. And over time, with enough practice, you can even influence your nervous system. Now, the way we do that is each time we meditate and we focus on our breath, it's like going to the gym. It's like doing a rep of a weight over and over and over. You get stronger with reps. So when somebody says, yes, you want me just to breathe, that is correct. I want you to learn how to breathe and strengthen that part of your nervous system. And that's the key.
And oftentimes when we're stuck in our own head and we're stuck in the cycle of rumination, we're activating the sympathetic nervous system, the fight or flight response over and over and over again. And we don't even realize we're doing it. And we're causing ourselves more harm, more distress, more discomfort, more behaviors to try and get out of that, to feel different, and really not going in a direction of our life that we want to go. Because now we're just in fight or flight mode all the time.
Absolutely.
Which isn't good for the body, isn't good for our health.
Because we're just saturated with chemicals that aren't good for us, stress chemicals.
So on this episode, we're not going to talk about all the different types of meditation, like transcendental meditation, spiritual meditation, mantra meditation, movement meditation, etc., because that would take us a long time. We're not going to be able to fit that into this 15-minute episode. But we are going to talk about a technique to get the ball rolling on meditation.
So yes, before we go into the methods that we're going to suggest here at the end of the podcast, I want to talk about a couple research studies that really show that meditation helps with rumination.
Awesome. I love to get the research to back this stuff up.
Yes. So one is pretty famous. It was done by Richard Davidson. And what he did is he took two groups of individuals. He took one group of expert meditators, and then he took novice meditators. And what he did is he hooked them up to a painful electrode that would give them a sense of feeling of burning on the wrist. And before that happened, they would give the patient a tone. So there'd be a tone, but they would have no pain stimuli. And then 10 seconds later, they would get a pain stimuli, and then they would have 10 seconds of what they called recovery. So what they saw is people that didn't meditate, they would have that tone that would go off, and their brain would light up in pain before they even felt the actual burning sensation on the wrist. And so what this was showing is that people that meditate are more present because they didn't get activity in the brain at the tone. So the tone would go off, they would be just baseline, and then there would be a pain stimuli. Their brain activity would go through the roof like normal to, register that pain, and then it would recover quite quickly. So what this is showing is that this really helps us be present. And if you're more present, you ruminate less. And that's the key. Because usually when we ruminate, we're thinking about the future or we're brooding about the past.
So they didn't have that reaction right away, which is so interesting because here a person is experiencing pain before they've actually even had the physical pain. And the person who's meditating doesn't go there.
Yeah. So if you think about it this way, I ruminate a lot. And so if I'm thinking about a situation that haven't even happened, right? I'm not present. I'm thinking about the future and I'm running through that and I'm getting all this nervous system that's kicking in and making me feel anxious. If I'm present, I'm not having that conversation that hasn't happened, or I'm not having that experience that hasn't happened. I'm right there in the moment enjoying my life.
You're putting your mind where you want your attention to be, which is on things that are fulfilling to you and meaningful to you. And the good news is with mindfulness meditation, that's a skill that you can learn, that you can practice. Like you said earlier, going to the gym, it's something that is doable.
Yeah. And I get this quite a bit. Like parents will come to me and say, I'm with my kids, but I'm not with them. I'm hanging out with them, but I'm thinking about work and conversations that I have to have at work. And I'm super anxious, even though I'm with my kids and I should be present with them. Mindfulness meditation is one of those ways to develop that skill to be present with your children or in relationships in the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. You can focus on those positive things in your life that actually bring meaning to your life and get you to your goals. There was another study I thought that was really good as well. This was done by Broderick, and this was about negative mood levels compared to rumination and distraction methods. When individuals practice mindfulness meditation, they were able to better cope with bad moods and reduce that rumination. And so that was really interesting as well. So the research is there that shows that mindfulness meditation is definitely helpful with this.
Yeah. There's even some research that shows nature-based meditation. So that means getting out in nature and being present in nature and using that as a mindfulness and meditation technique has significantly decreased depressive rumination, improved well-being in young people. This is interesting to me because we tend not to get out as much with so much electronics going on. So remember, ruminating thoughts can be operating in the background. They can be making you depressed, anxious, and even stuck in that addiction cycle. Meditation is one tool to help you get out of that rumination and addiction cycle. So it's very important to try this tool at least. Now, it doesn't happen right away. It's going to take some time, just like going to the gym and lifting weights or walking the treadmill. It takes a little bit of practice and time. But downstream, it is going to pay off.
Absolutely. I've been practicing mindfulness meditation in my life, and I can tell you that it has really helped me a lot. It has really helped me overcome a lot of negative mood and anxiety. But you're right, it takes practice, it takes time. But I think the first part is getting started. And that's what we want to help you do today. We want to help you get started so you can get on that path. So let's do that. What are the first steps?
Perfect. I'm glad you asked that. So the 4 simple, easy steps is step 1. You're going to find a place. So you're going to look through your apartment, your house, your backyard, your garage, anywhere that you feel that you can sit for 5-10 minutes and not be disturbed. That's step 1. Step 2, you're going to get a timer, either on your phone. There's all kinds of apps out there that you can download, and you're going to set a timer for 5 minutes. Then step 3, you're going to get up in the morning, you're going to sit down, set that timer, and you're going to start your meditation journey. Number 4 is you're going to focus on the breath. So you're going to focus on how your lungs feel when they fill up with air, or you can focus on how the air feels when it's going in your nose. You're going to focus on that for 5 minutes. When your mind wanders, you're just going to bring it back to your nose. And remember, don't worry about that. I got stressed out about that when I started. I was worrying that I had the monkey mind. Don't worry about it. Think of it this way. Every time your mind goes somewhere else and you bring it back to your breath, that's like doing a rep at the gym. That's a good thing. It's building strength, building resilience. Those are the 4 steps right there.
And those might sound super simple, but if you do them consistently, they can have a big impact on your life because you are working with your nervous system, as Eric was saying earlier, to change it and influence it. And the research shows that you will change your cognitive processes as you practice that. And that helps with rumination, depression, and anxiety. So go for it and do it. And if you're struggling with that, Eric has an incredible course that you can get to walk through this process with him. And this is built off his own experience. And he shares his own story of struggle through this process. It's an 8-week course. So if you're struggling with this and you can't get started, check that out. It's the 8-part audio series called The Meditation Journey, A Cure for Rumination. And for the next 7 days, it's free. Just go to theaddictedmind.com/plus or click the link in the show notes. And don't forget, use the code TAM8. That's TAM number 8. And you can get that 8-part series to help you walk through this process. And what's included in that too are worksheets for each session so that it can help you move through this process and integrate mindfulness into your life. I know that has had a huge impact on my life. I love mindfulness. It's helped me so much deal with my monkey mind, and I know it can help you deal with yours as well.
And just know you're not alone. I'm there with you on this journey. I've been there, and we'll go through it together.
Awesome. Thank you, Eric, for putting this out there.
I love it. Thank you for being here.
All right. If you're getting a lot out of the Addicted Mind podcast and the Addicted Mind Plus, please leave us a review in iTunes or wherever you're getting your podcast. We love it either way. It helps the podcast get found. We really appreciate it. And it's meaningful to us to know that the work we're doing here is having a positive impact on all of you out there. And if you think this episode would be helpful to someone out there, share it with them. Give them this information. We'd appreciate that as well. All right, everyone. Have a wonderful day. We'll talk to you on the next episode.
See you on your meditation journey.
Thank you for tuning into the Addicted Mind Plus. We hope today's episode has brought you valuable insights and a small step to support your journey in recovery, mental health, and wellness. For more information about this episode and additional resources, please visit our website at theaddictedmind.com/plus. And if there's a topic you're eager to hear about or a question you'd like us to explore, we'd love to hear from you. Reach out to us at theaddictedmind.com and let us know your thoughts. Your journey is important, and we're here to support you every step of the way. Until next time, take care and keep stepping forward on your path to wellness.